Welcome to This Explainer. Listen, if you've been feeling the heavy weight of the modern burnout epidemic, or if you're just totally exhausted by the relentless demands of hustle culture, well, you are exactly where you need to be right now. Today, we're going to fundamentally shift how you look at effort. We're breaking down some deeply insightful source material to uncover a much healthier and, honestly, way more sustainable approach to your daily life. It's a heavy question, isn't it? How do you actually know you did your best? Just hearing that might give you a little pang of anxiety. Because let's face it, we live in a world that constantly demands this of us. And usually the answer is tied to some completely exhausting, results-driven metric. We end up tying our entire self-worth to whether we hit the target, or got that promotion, or nailed the perfect outcome. But validating our sheer exhaustion through those societal metrics, that is exactly what's breaking us down. Our source text asks this very question, but the answer it gives, it's probably going to surprise you. Section 1. The illusion of control. Okay, let's dive into this. To find a better way forward, we first have to confront a massive misconception in our lives. See, we're constantly torn between two standards. On one side, you've got the external standard. This is the stuff we're all too used to, results in absolute numbers. Think about constantly refreshing your inbox or obsessing over a performance review. These are those anxiety-inducing benchmarks society judges us by. But on the flip side, the author advocates for an internal standard. This one is based entirely on today's choices, your personal responsibility, and keeping a sincere attitude. The text makes it incredibly clear the real standard for doing your best isn't found in the absolute numbers dictated by the outside world. It's found entirely within your own domain of responsibility.
And that brings us to a total paradigm shift from the text. Quote, "Doing your best is not about producing results, but about fulfilling the responsibilities entrusted to me." Think about that for a second. The author emphasizes that the absolute only things we can genuinely control are our choices in our actions today. Everything else, like what opportunities will pop up, when they'll arrive, or if they'll even come at all, that is completely out of our hands. So this means we literally have to let go of trying to control the uncontrollable. We have to embrace the present moment, because right now is the only place we can actually do anything. Section 2. Redefining your true best. So if we just toss out those external metrics, how do we actually measure our effort? We definitely need a new set of criteria. The source material points out that this has to be an honest internal check. There isn't going to be someone standing over your shoulder setting a threshold saying, yep, that's enough. Your new metric is brilliantly simple. I did as much as I could. According to the text, doing your best is reaching this state where you can calmly, sincerely acknowledge to yourself that you acted genuinely for your own life and happiness in that specific moment. It's this quiet, internal validation. It's literally looking in the mirror and knowing, without needing anyone else's gold star, that you gave what you had to give today.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, the author gives us this beautiful, incremental, three-part progression of a life truly lived at its best. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole concept. Number 1, you tried to be just a little bit better than yesterday. Number 2, through that attempt, you learned at least one new thing or gained one new experience today. And number 3, you use that experience to set a direction for tomorrow, kind of thinking to yourself, okay, let's try it this way next time. See, it's not about perfect performance at all. It's about a sincere, daily attitude of just gently expanding your own limits.
Section 3. The truth about opportunities. Now we have to tackle what is arguably the hardest reality check in the entire text. We are so often taught that if we just work hard enough, success is guaranteed, right? We love to think that hard work forces the universe's hand, like we can just drop effort into a vending machine and boom, out pops an opportunity. But that's a myth. An opportunity cannot be demanded. It is not a guaranteed automatic reward just because you put in the sweat. It's not something we can rush, and it is certainly not something we can calculate or be promised. The author is actually brutally honest here. Opportunities exist entirely outside our domain of control. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it raises such an obvious question. I mean, if hard work doesn't guarantee an opportunity, then why do we try so hard in the first place? The author's answer is pretty profound. We push our limits today not to guarantee an opportunity, but because tomorrow is entirely unknown. We have literally no idea what future opportunities might demand of us. Even when we feel like we're totally prepared, a new situation might pop up that requires a far greater capacity. So we make the effort to expand our limits today simply because that's the only part of the equation we can actually take responsibility for.
So, how should we actually view opportunities when they do finally show up? The source provides this exact perspective. An opportunity is a gift to be grateful for. If an opportunity comes your way and you get to showcase your abilities, you should be incredibly grateful. But what if you aren't ready? What if you totally fail to grasp it? Well, the text tells us not to despair. Instead, treat it simply as a lesson, like a little guidepost showing you how to prepare better for next time. In either scenario, you never, ever treat the opportunity as something you were automatically entitled to.
Section 4. A philosophy for today.
Bringing this whole philosophical journey to its climax, we see how adopting this mindset provides immense, and I mean immense, psychological relief for our daily lives. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, and you finally stop judging yourself by the world's absolute numbers, you free up a massive amount of mental and emotional energy. Let's summarize the practical application of this text with the 3 pillars of today. First, do your best to simply fulfill today's responsibilities. Second, live in the present with gratitude. Not because your current situation is necessarily perfect, but because right now is the only place you can actually take action. And third, accept opportunities as gifts, not entitlements. We aren't acting to manipulate or control the future. We act to honor and find gratitude in the present moment.
So, the crucial point is this ultimate unifying mantra from our source material. Doing your best does not mean getting results. It means fulfilling today's responsibilities, learning in the process, and setting a direction for tomorrow. It takes everything we've talked about, the internal standards, the focus on the present, the willingness to learn, and wraps the whole shebang into a definition of effort that you can actually sustain for a lifetime.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer, leaving us with one final lingering thought. How will you approach your responsibilities today? Now that you know you really don't have to carry the weight of the ultimate outcome, and now that you understand your only real job is to sincerely fulfill today's portion and just learn from it, how does that change your next step? I highly encourage you to take this liberating, internally driven mindset and apply it to whatever tasks you face next. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this fascinating material, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.